is no, no, it's true because you depend the different politicals for young people. So it's not real a good situation for young people. Uh, Costa Rica in Central America is a good example. The politics and safety politics and security and democracy is a good example. Colombia now is a good example. Just process peace. We need to have more young people participate in this process because we want to the peace. In the future, the new generations we need to peace because if you don't have peace, you can participate and you can create the future and you can't get a good education and you can't to knowledge and you can't to stay in other countries and give the good experience about the participation. South American, totally South America have a good democracy, but we need more skills, more good governments to express the young people. We need to do create models, create a good participation space. I think South American is not that different Central American, but Mexico, for example, and Colombia is very similar, and we have the similar crisis, political crisis or conflict crisis, the war, family in the war, young people in the war or the conflict is very similar. So it's very important that young people participate and create new alternatives. If you want to, the future need a good government.
Well, thank you for that exposition, so to speak. And you really took us there and to different economies in different countries and how the politics works. Really, I think what I get a sense from you is that more engagement of the youth is important. But we also see as to after what happened in the Arab Spring and what's happening in India also, that we have agitation by the young, but very often is caste based. Like there was a Jats are a community in India, and there was a young leader leading them, and Patels in Gujarat. So I keep going back to this. I mean, it's good to have more youth, but maybe maybe a leadership of youth or young leadership, but which is more dedicated, so to speak, to democratic principles, to not divisive politics, but bringing people together and cutting across religion, race, and economic divide. We will take some questions from the audience now because we do have, I think, another 15 minutes for the session.
Well, I mean, just I'm Margaret Ali from London, and I work for Universal Peace Federation, and we have a young UPF, which means that in Universal Peace Federation we have young people, kind of working to be more, whatever, helping others, more altruistic. Um, however, we not just in England, but generally in the West, there's a real sense of thinking that there is an apathy among youth regarding politics. I mean, that's your question. I'm not going to talk about political systems because they vary and they're not really so relevant to this question. No matter what, young people say, "Oh God, they're not doing anything," and they don't actually. Our thinking, our thinking is that generally of older people's thinking. However, we did a campaign with another organization, young people's organization called Chata UK, and they have their own online thing, and they've got lots of people following, 25,000 or something. However, we found that it is not the case at all. We have a partnership with the UK government, UK Parliament, to bring young people to Parliament, and we do that a lot. So in the Parliament week, we did youth engagement in politics. That was a topic. We were absolutely flabbergasted. The number of young people who were really interested, but they just did not know. So this was last year. This year, end of last year, we started this campaign with a couple of MPs, but particularly with Shata UK CEO. He's a fantastic young man. He's 23, 24, I'm not sure. However, he works with us, with our young people, we did a campaign to try and get education into schools to understand what is politics. People should understand that what you wear is politics, what you buy, where you go, and you've got the right to do this or that. If they don't even know that politics is campaigning and, you know, lobbying your MP, etc., etc. So therefore, when we started this, everybody was a bit, again, apathic. I can't, nothing will happen. But this determined young man, together with a little team from us, they went and they talked to people to say that, look, we wouldn't do this education. I know we're very, very difficult. It's very, very kind of traditional education, whatever departments, you can't do anything. So we devised a method, a curriculum that was accepted by the education department, and they're actually going teaching in schools, any schools. You got top Harrow School, which is a public school, public meaning private, and then there is the just academy where people are really struggling to stay in school, and they've got a special group of unachieving people. He just goes anywhere where they will listen, and he's paid for it, and anywhere, anywhere, and the process has started. What my point is, every time we did anything, we found that young people are interested, but they don't know how to access politics. So this myth must be broken, and it's not so much what young people are complaining in, like in cartels, etc. What what is important is to make young people engage, to understand who's their MP, what was it. Once they do that, they by themselves they engage. I really feel education is the key, and I also feel that you should.
Um,
Yeah.
can can I can I respond to that? Um, yeah, I've got a mic. Yeah, no, what you said really resonates with. Um, there's a misperception that young people don't care about politics, and there is a lot of apathy. Sometimes among young people, and I think it has to do with education. In the United States, a lot of young people have the view that politics is you wait till you're 18 years old and then you go vote and that's it. And you vote for a president, but we're not educated about civics or engaging in politics even before we are allowed to vote when we're younger than 18. When I was in high school, uh, I was raised in Southside Chicago, an area with a rather high poverty rate. My parents were immigrants, and I lived in a community that was pretty politically marginalized. Um, but I was introduced to a program very similar to the one that you spoke about called the Mikvah Challenge, where they take young people and they engage them in politics. For example, I was working um, in Barack Obama's reelection campaign. I was doing a lot of campaign work, and whereas in normal school, young people sit down and they listen to the adult. Yes, but in this situation, the education is altered um, dramatically. Now it's young people who are, you're the experts in policy. What do you want to see change? What's important to you? And the adults now have to listen. And when you empower youth, when you let them take the lead, yes, we are passionate about the things that affect us. And one of the things that I did in 2013, when I was still in high school, the city of Chicago, the government announced the largest school closures in U.S. history. Most of these schools, public schools, were being closed in poor minority neighborhoods. Um, and you know, to me right away, I was like, they're closing public schools, they're shutting down education for students. Where is the student voice? Why are youth not participating? So I started organizing with young people all over the city, and we created an organization called the Chicago Students Union, and we did a lot of protesting. If politicians don't want to listen to the young people, we're going to make them listen to us. And so we started protesting a lot, having massive demonstrations consistently in the city until we got a seat at the table, until we were able to sit on the same table as the politicians making the decision. And we pressured the Board of Education to create a student advisory council so that students could be part of the decision makers when it comes to education policy. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to highlight that story. Yeah.
Yes, I would just like to add. I actually come from the Mexican border, Nogales, on the Mexican side of Nogales, Arizona. So everything that you said, it's like our everyday life about what is going to be life after November. We are kind of curious. And regarding the youth engagement, I was very interested into coming into this session because as the community foundation I work for, we have seen this new way of doing things in politics in Mexico. We seem to be living forever in campaigns. Everyone is campaigning at some point in the country. So yeah, it's a campaign style of life. So for mayors and some representatives is every 3 years. For governors and president, every 6 years. So you take a group of 15-year-old kids and start providing sport activities, some concerts, etc., wearing the shirt of the color of your party, red or blue, and they grow up those 3 years and they mature into voting for the party. There is no corruption for them. You cannot accuse them of being into something dirty, etc., because they are clean cut kids. But at some point, you are using them. You are forcing their minds through sports, etc., to become part of that party. The other part, what we have been doing as a non-political organization, and I think the results are clear, is starting to work with middle schools. Those that are 12, that politicians really don't care about them because they are not going to vote in 3 years, and start asking them what they want. What is the conditions of the park, the roads, the bus service, etc., and they decide what they want to do with that amount of money that we will grant to them. They are so young that they don't can even cash a check. So we do all the due diligence work, etc. But they are so proud. Some of them are 16 now. They still have another um, campaign to vote, but they are becoming the city leaders in a city where the leaders are those who are engaged with the mafia and have cash in their pockets. This is the new generation that started doing community work at 12. So for us, 15, it's too late. We're starting supporting groups at 12, and they really know what they want. And if you see my presentation today at 2:45, we're going to show you the drawings they did as civil engineers to measure the park, etc. They did everything. They were 12. So that's how young we have to start. They have a voice at 12. They really know what they want. And many girls involved.
Uh, I would like to finish with three questions because it's very important about why youth be adverse to politics. And the first question is why, if power is supposed to reside in people, why it seems like we have overlooked the true sense of government by the people for the people? And another question is why should the future of our population be in the hands of a few? Or better, why political systems are designed for controlling economics and social systems to a point basic liberty are restricted? I think it's a good question because the title dissertation is Youth Adverse to Politics, and we have the different situations in different countries. But why the young people don't participate? We thinking because